All right, so King of the Hill. This one I'm super excited for. I put a ton of work into this one in terms of research. I will get to my things then. Don't laugh too early, mate. All right, so King of the Hill, it will be revealing the best young A-list actors and actresses of Hollywood, essentially answering that question of who the next faces of Hollywood are. You know, before we had Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and now we have a new generation that is ready to take hold of the big screen moving forward. Movies are changing, and so are the movie stars, and we're starting to see it right now. So how exactly does that look? Well, that's what King of the Hill is. So King of the Hill is going to be, made up of 15 different actors and actresses, broken down into 5 different tiers, building up to the top tier. At the very top, that will be one occupant there, one actor or actress there, and AKA, that's going to be our King of the Hill, or Queen, who knows. So, when it came to our last podcast, we covered the Hollywood Reporter's young A-list and actors for the future, so to speak. Me and Nan had a lot to say about it. We had a lot of critique about it, and it was pretty undefined on what makes an A-lister and how those actors were in the list that Hollywood Reporter had done. So I was like, screw it. We're going to make our own segment here, and then we're going to have a real criteria. And I think our criteria is pretty good in terms of what defines a young A-lister for this next generation of Hollywood. So I'll reveal to you the criteria before we get underway. This criteria is important because I need you guys to understand that this is not saying who's the best actor. These aren't the best young actors. This is an A-lister. So on that last podcast, I said the 2 main criteria that an actor must meet to be considered an A-lister, they either got to be bringing in awards or they got to be bringing in money, aka the box office. So I'll reveal to you the criteria for the Hill now. So for the criteria, they have to be under 35 years old. As soon as you hit 35, you are off the Hill. So you won't be a part of it. Okay, and then there is a box office requirement. So they must have been in a film with over 150 million domestically or 300 million worldwide in a supporting role or above. So what I mean by that is if, Tom Holland in Avengers Endgame, that's not going to allow him to qualify for that box office thing right there. And I'm also excluding major franchise IP, and this is stuff like MCU, Star Wars, DCU, things that are almost guaranteed to get that 300 million worldwide or 150 million domestically. Because if you just cast a young person in that, it already allows them to qualify for that box office. So I think that's a fair requirement there. But the twist to this one is they don't have to meet the box office. They can meet the acclaim criteria that I have here. And that is they must have either an Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA, Emmy, or SAG nomination. So, an actor in this Hill that I'm about to reveal can be in, a movie that's made only $5 million, but if they have a Golden Globe nomination, they are allowed to get in because they're being acknowledged for, their work and quite a prestigious, award ceremony. So that's where they only have to meet one of those, box office or acclaim, to be eligible for the Hill as well. So I have other criteria in here, and they must meet all of these other ones to be considered. But a few of them didn't meet it, so we'll get to that one soon. So they must have an average fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So I've calculated all of these actors in front of you, the average Rotten Tomatoes score. And the reason why they must have an average fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes is because the A-listers in Hollywood, they know how to pick their films. Them and their team know how to pick the right movies that are going to do well. So that's part of an actor's resume and filmography, to be in great movies consistently. And that will be revealed on the average fresh rating. Say whatever you want about Rotten Tomatoes, but if we're calculating 20 movies on an average, it's a fair assumption at that point. They must be a leading role in at least 2 films. You cannot be an A-lister if you can't lead films or if you don't lead films. That just doesn't happen. They must have a high-profile future role lined up. This can be behind the camera or in front of the camera, but being in a high-profile future role, and having it lined up shows that you're in demand, that you can get work, and that you are essentially, leading the way in terms of these big projects that are coming in the next few years or so. And again, you must have been in at least 2 roles that are different. It shows your versatility as an actor. If you're going to be like Glenn Powell and be in Devotion and Top Gun Maverick in the same year, or Tom Holland and Spider-Man in 5 different movies, there's no versatility in that. They're all essentially kind of the same role. So they at least have to be in something else. So yeah, Nam, thoughts on the criteria? Is that fair to you? Is that good?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Before you get started, 2nd row, 3rd from that way. Why is that person there?
I think your camera's inverted, so I don't know which one you're talking to. But I'm gonna get to it. I think I know who you're talking about.
I think you should know who I'm talking about.
All right, should we get to that one first? All right, we'll get to it first, eh?
All right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll just get straight into this one. All right. So, who didn't make the hill? These are the ones that deserve honorable mentions here. And they are people that didn't meet the criteria as explained just beforehand. So we'll start with the one that Nayan's probably talking about, and that is Taylor Swift, correct?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift has been in movies. She's a megastar in the musical area. And the reason why I put Taylor Swift here is that she met... Let me actually go to my research here. She's under the 35. I mean, she's 34, so she's going to be out soon. So I just wanted to give her props now before she won't be eligible in the next time we do this. Her box office is over $1 billion total. She met the box office criteria with her Eras Tour movie. She's won an Emmy. She has 4 Golden Globe nominations. She averages 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, so she is under that threshold that I did, because they have to be at least 60%. And she hasn't led a movie herself. But the reason why I'm putting her on here is, if Taylor Swift suddenly decided, you know what, Eras Tour was great, I made so much money from it, I wanted to, move into something else, and she decided to be a movie star, she would be an A-lister almost immediately. There's no denying that, right?
Nah, she'll probably draw money, that's for sure.
100%, and that's part of making an A-lister. If she was to choose her movies right and just go into acting, regardless if she's good or not, she would bring in a ton of money to any film production she's in. So it's not that she's near being an A-lister. It's not that she is going to be an A-lister. She might not be an A-lister at any point in her career. But the point is that she has the keys. If she wants to open the door to become an A-lister, it's right there. It's right there. She just has to unlock the door. So it's kind of up to her. And she's probably the only person that's in that unique position right now. So I'm defended that one wisely. If you have anything to say about it now, speak on it. Do you agree or disagree on that one?
Well, based on your criteria, she hasn't been in a leading film, nor has a high-profile movie lined up, and true. She has been in 2 different roles that are versatile. So technically, she shouldn't be honorable mentioned. It's just if she turned to acting, she can just draw a lot of money, which is one of your criteria up above.
I don't know, man. She is highly rumored to star in Deadpool and Wolverine. Have a cameo on there. I mean, if she's in that, dude, she's an A-lister. Okay, but we're going to move on now to the more serious candidates of this. Also to note, I couldn't fit it in the picture, but Glenn Powell, he's 35. We kept talking about him last time as if he's 34. He's 35, dude, so he's not able to be on this list at all. So don't expect him to be on the hill. Brie Larson, she was considered as well. She's 34, 6.5 billion total box office. She's part of the franchises, the MCU, Fast and Furious franchise. She's an Oscar, a BAFTA, an Emmy, a Golden Globe, and a SAG. She averages 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, but she has no high-profile movie kind of coming up. So she didn't make the hill, nor was she included on this little picture in front of you as well. And it's just because I think she's kind of slipping out of the spotlight more so. You'd think with, the Captain Marvel role that she would be ascending, but it seems to be going down, and that's pretty difficult to do when you've got one of the biggest roles in the MCU, right? So, yeah. Okay. Who do we have? All right, we got the Saltburn brothers on the bottom row on the left there. Jacob Elordi, I mean, he's popular, sure, I give him that, but 47% average on Rotten Tomatoes. Shout out to the Kissing Booth series of Netflix, hey, guess what? Your resume does matter. Jacob Elordi is one of those guys, though, that can easily get on the hill kind of at any notice. He just needs to bring in a really great performance in a really good movie. Once he gets those two together, he can really start ascending. But he's going to get there at some point, I believe so. But right now, dude, his resume is really bad. He needs to start building that up big time. All right, who else do we have that's interesting? Oh, yeah, we'll go to Barry Keoghan, the other Saltburn guy. So, yep, he's 31 years old. He has a 1.8 billion box office. You know, he starred in The Batman, Dunkirk, Eternals. The thing with him is he has not led in 2 movies. He only led in Saltburn. So, Eternals, Dunkirk, American Animals, they are all ensemble pieces. He's not the lead in that. He's not the guy carrying that movie. His next high-profile movie coming up is The Beatles, and that's rumored. At this point, it's not actually confirmed by the studio itself. He has won stuff as a BAFTA. He's won stuff, or been nominated for, an Oscar. And his average on Rotten Tomatoes is 77%, one of the highest in here. He was strongly considered to make the hill, but he was one that was just left off. Jenna Ortega, there's not much to say about her. I don't know where the popularity comes from. I think she can get there. Yeah, I know that, but like in terms of supposedly execs are really keen for her. She doesn't meet the box office threshold. Her highest grossing is Scream 6 with 169 million. Yeah, so she's a bit far off. She's very young though, so she has plenty of time to get there. I just think some people are kind of rushing to the gun to calling her that, so that's where that one comes from. Isabella Merced, yeah, she's on the way there as well, but what was her reasoning? She doesn't meet the awards or box office criteria. So she has no nominations. She has no awards in her name. Transformers is the only one that met the box office criteria, but that's a major IP that can always get that 150 or 300 million worldwide. So it doesn't count. But she's been in good stuff.
Hold on, I'm just trying to have a look at how much Dora made.
But that like not have something, dude. No.
Oh, actual?
60 million domestically, and I think 16 million worldwide, internationally. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 120. Oh, yeah. Fuck! I thought that was bigger than.
Exactly.
Okay. Never mind.
No, it was tiny. I was shocked as well. I've looked at nearly everything for this. So yeah, I was shocked at that one. So she doesn't meet that at all. Her average on Rotten Tomatoes right now is 56%. Can be boosted up. She's picking the right stuff. Her stuff lined up is Alien Romulus, The Last of Us, and Superman. So she's coming, but she's not there yet. Therefore, she does not make the hill this time around. Sydney Sweeney. Last week I said she was a lock in my eyes, but really looking at her entire filmography and what everything adds up to, she doesn't quite make it. She's close, but not close enough. Sydney Sweeney averages 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, so she's really bad. One of the lowest in terms of the ones that I've considered here. Her box office is only 723 million. Nothing met the box office, I believe. The thing that boosts her most is Euphoria, which earned her 2 Emmy nominations and a SAG nomination, and that's her high-profile role coming up is Euphoria Season 3. So while I absolutely believe she's on the way, and the fact that she's a producer as well elevates her case, she's not there yet. So you got a lot of people that are just banging on the door for this hill, but they're not quite there. Jodie Comer was one that for personal reasons, I just really wanted to be on. I just find her extremely likable. I think she's a great
Me too. I'm sad about sitting her there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but no, she doesn't do it. I had to make it a fair process. She only has 361 million total box office. That's total in her whole career. It's might be the last one here. But she did qualify for it. Free Guy was the one that got her that qualification. Over 300 and something worldwide. So that helps her. She's also in The Last Duel, the Ridley Scott, Matt Damon, Adam Driver movie, I believe. She's won an Emmy, 2 BAFTAs. She's nominated for 3 Emmys, 6 BAFTAs, 2 Golden Globes, and a SAG. Highly decorated, averages 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. She's really, really good. And highly decorated at 31 years old. However, she hasn't led in 2 movies. She was a lead, or has been kind of labeled as a lead in The Last Duel, but she's supporting in Free Guy. Ryan Reynolds is a lead in that one now.
Would you count? Would you count TV series? Because I'm pretty sure she's the lead in that TV series.
No, I'm not counting TV series. Film's the big one here, so only in movies you have to be the lead in. Same with the box office. And if we want to apply TV to this, then the pool for young A-list actors just grows exponentially. It helps their case, but it doesn't help with the criteria, except for upcoming roles. That's the only thing I've applied it to. Otherwise, my research for this kind of just gets way too big right now. Her high-profile role coming up is 28 years later. That's from a known IP, so that qualifies. High-profile role, just for clarification purposes, is either something from an acclaimed director or a known IP. I think that's a fair way to define that. And then we got our last one on this list. That's Nicholas Hoult. We spoke about Nicholas Hoult. That maybe deserves to be on this one. But he averages 59% of Rotten Tomatoes. So he's just a percent off there. Some of these averages get crazy. We'll get into that one soon. He's 34, so by the time I do this again, he might not even be eligible for it. But 4.5 billion total box office, X-Men, Mad Max, Garfield. He has a really, a repertoire of franchise movies. He's gonna be in the DCU. So, the fact that he's 34, he would have made it by the time Superman come out, but he'll be too old at that point. He's been nominated for an Emmy, a BAFTA, 2 Golden Globes, and 3 SAGs coming out. He'll be in Superman as Lex Luthor, and he'll be in Nosferatu as well, which is by Robert Eggers. So that will be a good one. All right, Nain, any contentions to these ones here?
Nah, it's all good. Just still sad about Jodie Comer. But it's fair.
Yeah. You have some people that you were taking note of when you saw my script notes.
Yeah, a lot of them have just been wiped out, but it's all good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll share my list. What I wrote down at the end, but I was going for a completely different thing here. But it's all good.
Who was on your list?
Okay, I'll do it now. So I sort of did a mix of your criteria and who I actually think would be in it in a couple generations time. So one, I have McKenna Grace. So she was the lead in the 2 recent Ghostbuster films. She also played young Carol Danvers and young... I forgot the ice skater name. The film is I, Tonya, but I don't know the actual skater.
Oh, right, yeah.
The other one I have is Rachel Zegler. I mean, Hunger Games, Ballad, and she's going to be in... she was in West Side Story and going to be in Snow White. Other one I have here is Alex Wolff. I think he's one to keep an eye out on in the future. Hereditary. He was in Oppenheimer as well. So that would have qualified for the box office. And his next film is, I think, A Quiet Place Day 1. I had Will Poulter in here as well. I had... This is where it gets weird. I had Ayo Edebiri from The Bear. She qualifies for the Emmys and the Golden Globes, but I think she'll be one to keep an eye out in the future if she just branches out into films. And Jeremy Allen White as well from The Bear as well, same reasons. And then I have Kernan Shipka as well. She was in Mad Men and she was in Totally Killer as well. But she's one to keep an eye out on in the future.
Yeah, fair. No, some good names there. I definitely consider the Bear duo there of Ayo Edebiri and Jeremy Allen White. I think they are. I think they're coming. I mean, Ayo Edebiri's in Inside Out 2, so that's promising for her career. But yeah, and McKenna Grace and another one you mentioned there as well. They're ones to definitely be on the lookout in their horizon. But what I'm about to reveal to you are the ones that are actually here already. All right, so we're gonna get straight into this one, man. Let's do this, man.
Do it.
Boom. Row 5. All right, so these are the 5 that are at the bottom of the hill, but they made the hill. And to be on the hill, you have to meet that criteria. But fun fact, only 12 people met that entire criteria. So 3 of these ones on the bottom didn't meet the criteria. That is Austin Butler, that is Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Anya Taylor-Joy. So for Aaron Taylor-Johnson, he didn't meet the criteria because he had a 59.64% on Rotten Tomatoes. So he was like 0.36% off from being eligible. So when I was looking at I can fill out, he had to be an obvious candidate for that. Same with Austin Butler. He's 59% average on Rotten Tomatoes. So you kind of have to give it to him. And have this kind of list without Austin Butler on it, it seems like a crime at that point if something would be wrong with my criteria. So he has to be on it. And then Anya Taylor-Joy just did not have a high-profile role coming up that I can see. So she was not eligible for it, but I don't know. I'm assuming she will be announced for Super Mario Bros. 2, which is a high-profile role, and she'll immediately get in. So that's why she's on this. But Aaron Taylor-Johnson, he's 33. He's still young. It feels like he's been around forever. He's done Kick-Ass, Tenet, Godzilla, MCU, $3.3 billion at the box office. He's won a Golden Globe. He's been nominated for 2 BAFTAs. And his roles coming up, Kraven the Hunter, and 28 years later, Nosferatu. This guy is an A-lister and he's young still.
Potentially Bond too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I decided to put him on despite not meeting the criteria. I had a whole list of who should fill out those last 3 spots. I'm like, okay, if this guy gets Bond, he's immediately there. And he can, I don't know if he could go to the top, but he can definitely be, in those top three tiers. Next one we got Austin Butler. He's 32, so he's only got 3 years to try to climb this hill. 1.4 billion box office. He's in Elvis. He's Dune. He won a BAFTA, a Golden Globe. He nominated for an Oscar. Nominated for a SAG. He's nominated for 2 SAGs actually. But he does average 59% of Rotten Tomatoes. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, you see the trend of his quality of films getting higher and higher. Things coming out soon. He obviously has The Bike Riders. I wouldn't consider that high profile at this time. But Heat 2 by Michael Mann and Eddington by Ari Aster. Those are 2 things to look out for. Quite special directors there. Anya Taylor-Joy, the last one that didn't meet the criteria. It was because she didn't have a high profile role.
You already touched upon Anya Taylor-Joy. You need to talk about the one next to Austin Butler.
Yeah, I know. I'm just telling the resume to the audience.
Oh, I thought you already did that.
No. I was just saying why she got him. But 28 years old, 2.3 billion total box office. She's been in Mario, Mad Max. Yeah, she's still young. She's won a Golden Globe. She's won a SAG. That was mostly for Queen's Gambit, I believe. Nominated for a BAFTA and Emmy as well. But she does average 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. She chooses the right projects to be a part of. Kaylee Spaney. Kaylee Spaney was a surprise when she met all the criteria. She is 25 years old. She's clearly up and coming, but her box office, only 571 million total box office. But she was a part of Pacific Rim Uprising, Priscilla, and Civil War. Pacific Rim was the qualifier for her then. Don't consider that a major IP. That's an automatic 300 million movie. But anyway, she's been nominated for a Golden Globe, so that helps her case. Averages 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, so she's got a great early start in her career. And the things coming out, Alien Romulus, Knives Out 3, allows her to be a part of this hill. And then we go to the final one, one that probably surprises me the most in terms of this whole hill, Harris Dickinson. I mentioned him the other day, but I didn't really consider him. I just wanted to float that idea out to you last week, Nan. But he qualified for everything. 27 years old, 890 million total box office. His qualifier was Maleficent 2. Yeah, Maleficent 2. He was on that. Don't like that movie. But I like this guy. I'm rooting for him. He's been in The Iron Claw, The Triangle of Sadness, 2 movies I've loved. He's been nominated for 2 BAFTAs. He averages 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. His upcoming movies is Blitz and The Beatles. Blitz is by Steve McQueen, an acclaimed director. And Beatles is obviously, something based on really popular stuff. And he has led into movies as well. He is rumoured, but he's got that Blitz as backup, so he's okay there. All right, let's move on to our next tier, Nan. Boom. There we go. All right. We got Paul Mescal. He's 28 years old. He is on the 3rd row here. His box office, though, this is surprising, bro. His total box office for all his movies, 30.8 million.
Is that the lowest?
That's the lowest of anyone I ever considered for this list. He hasn't been in much, but he's still qualified, and I'll get to that soon. But 30.8 million, my goodness, Furiosa opened higher than that. Even Garfield opened higher than that in just 3 days. But $30.8 million total box office. He's been in After Sun, and the reason why he qualifies for this is because of his, award resume. He was nominated for an Oscar. He's nominated for 3 BAFTAs and 1 Emmy, and he's won 1 BAFTA. So he's eligible for the award side of it. His average for Rotten Tomatoes is 77%. So super high. It's one of the highest averages on him. And his upcoming stuff is Beatles, Gladiator 2. Ridley Scott. I don't know if I'd call him acclaim now, but he's certainly had his praises said to him beforehand. But yeah, Beatles, that's obviously a big one too. Paul Mescal deserves that spot there. Then we go to the real Netflix queen, that's Millie Bobby Brown. According to my criteria, Millie Bobby Brown is the A-lister, not Jenna Ortega. Millie Bobby Brown is only 20 years old. Only 20. She has 15 years to get to the top of this hill. So she might do it. Her total box office is $832 million. So not that big, but she's been in, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and that's really where her movies lie. Otherwise, she's kind of the Netflix person off this list here. Being in Enola Holmes, Stranger Things and such. She hasn't won any significant awards, but she's been nominated for 5 SAGs and 2 Emmys. She averages 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. She, leads those 2 Enola Holmes movies, and her, big role coming up in the future is the final season of Stranger Things. So she deserves to be there. We'll see where her career takes her. Then we get to another one, Taron Egerton. He's 34 years old. He turns 35 in October. This might be the only time he ever makes the hill. But anyway, his box office is $2.2 billion. He's been in Sing, the singing gorilla. I like him. Oi, Dad.
I was going to make that joke.
Kingsman, Rocketman. He's been in a well-rounded mix of stuff. Animated, Oscar-worthy performance, and then Kingsman. He's won a Golden Globe for his role in Rocketman. He's been nominated for an Emmy, 3 BAFTAs, 2 Golden Globes, 2 SAGs. He averages 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. He's led in 2 movies, and his next movie coming up that is, I guess, his high-profile movie, Kingsman, The Blue Blood. I didn't even know it was called that, so that's one to look forward to. And then we got our final role in here, and I'm sad she's this low, but she is the one rounding out our 4th row here, and that is Saoirse Ronan. She's only 30 years old, extremely acclaimed already, but she has $1.2 billion total box office. She did not meet the box office qualifier. A lot of these people we're going to be seeing now have met both the awards and the box office qualifier. She doesn't meet the box office qualifier, which is why she's in this 4th row here. Her biggest movies are stuff like Lady Bird, Little Woman, Grand Budapest Hotel, stuff that hasn't, blown up for the box office. But when it comes to Academy, when it comes to awards, she's huge. Hasn't won anything, but she's been nominated for 4 Oscars, 5 BAFTAs, 4 Golden Globes, and 4 SAGs. She's extremely decorated when it comes to nominations. And her average is 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. So she meets that qualifier exactly. But highly good at what she does. So she's very deserving of that role. All right, Naam. Any thoughts so far, dude? How are we feeling about this?
To be honest, I thought poor Mescal probably should have been on that bottom row, and either Aaron or Austin would have replaced him. But other than that, no, it's pretty bang on.
Yeah, you're right, dude. I mean, I would agree with you. I'd put Austin at least higher, but I made this criteria. I have to stick to my guns with the criteria. He doesn't average a fresh percentage of Rotten Tomatoes. So.
Well, then technically he shouldn't be on there if he doesn't average it, right?
Well, only 12 people averaged it, and I needed 15 people. He was the one that was closest to it afterwards. I have the mess, bro. I wrote down all my notes. I got this. Don't worry. All right, 3rd row. Let's reveal it. Boom. There we go. Look, underlined and everything.
Is she that young?
Pardon?
I said it was Jennifer. Oh, wow. I thought she was way older.
Yeah, we'll start off with Jennifer Lawrence then, all right? Okay, 33 years old. She's another 2 years to get to the top here. And at some point in her career, if we'd been doing this before, she probably would have been at the top. It feels like she's been around forever. $6.1 billion total box office from the role she's been in. She's been part of the X-Men franchise, obviously the Hunger Games franchise. She's won an Oscar. She's won a BAFTA, 3 Golden Globes, and 2 SAGs. She's been nominated for 4 Oscars, 2 BAFTAs, 6 Golden Globes, and 6 SAGs. Yeah, she has, the resume of someone who's been, acting for like 30 years at this point. She averages 33% of Rotten Tomatoes. Her high-profile movie coming up is a Luca Guadagnino film that I forgot the name of. But regardless, he's an acclaimed director. So,
I would have considered her a A-lister, to be honest, at this point.
She
me personally.
That's why she's on this. No, she's anyone on this list I would consider an A-lister at this point.
Okay.
But for different reasons. She's both a box office and Academy person. The reason why she's not at the top of this list is because her momentum is coming down, and we're seeing these people have really high momentums going up. Back, say, 5 years ago, she was really at the top of this kind of list, right? Yeah, she's coming down now. Starring in things like No Hard Feelings, which I kind of like, but it's not really A-list kind of movies. Zendaya, an obvious candidate. 27 years old, $6 billion total box office. A lot of it's the MCU, but now she's got Dune. Greatest Showman was on there as well. She's won 2 Emmys at Golden Globe. She's been nominated for 5 Emmys at Golden Globe and a SAG. She averages 78% of Rotten Tomatoes. She chooses really good subjects. That's a really high average for Rotten Tomatoes. And her upcoming stuff is Dune, Messiah, and Euphoria. So she got a great career in front of her, and so does the person next to her. That's Florence Pugh, 28 years old, $3.4 billion total box office. She's been in the MCU and Black Widow, and I think she's starting something else. Dune 2. She hasn't won any major awards, not yet, but she's been nominated for an Oscar. She's nominated for 2 BAFTAs, a SAG, averages 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I think Florence Pugh, anything I see her in, it's great. She's someone that chooses really great roles consistently. That is the mark of an A-lister, and that's what she is. Thunderbolts, with an asterisk, is her major role coming up. And that's right. I said with an asterisk because that's what they called it. All right. We'll move on to the final 2, and then I'll get Name's prediction on who our King of the Hill is going to be. All right. Boom. There we go. I'm pretty sure
I have no idea who number 1's going to be now.
Oh, you're going to be surprised. I was shocked, but as soon as I realized it, I'm like, okay, they are clearly the King of the Hill. Okay. Tom Holland, 28 years old, 11.1 billion box office. He has the highest box office of anyone here. But remember I said no major IP can be that box office qualifier. Therefore, Uncharted was the qualifier there, which got 400 million, which shows that he can be a box office draw outside of the MCU. He's been nominated for a BAFTA, and he won that BAFTA. He averages 69% of Rotten Tomatoes, albeit a lot of the MCU, or actually I think all of the MCU stuff is fresh, which allows him to get that high mark on Rotten Tomatoes. And his major role is Spider-Man 4. So he is a guy who's relying on the MCU at this point. He lives and breathes on the MCU. And I know he's so much more than that. If you've seen his other roles, you know he can act. But this guy seriously needs to choose his roles better because he's been a dog shit outside of the MCU. He's lucky it saves his thing here. He's someone I could see easily going to the top of the hill, but I could also see him slide to the bottom of the hill at some point if he doesn't choose his roles wisely outside of the MCU. And then we get to the other blood brother of Tom Holland, which is Timothee Chalamet, 28 years old as well, 2.9 billion total box office. He's been in Dune. He obviously has Wonka now behind him. He's been nominated for, he hasn't won any major awards, but he's been nominated for an Oscar, 3 BAFTAs, 3 Golden Globes, and 5 SAGs. This guy is the real deal. Averages 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. Almost any Timothee Chalamet movie you can consider it is going to be good. These guys know how to they know how to choose great stuff. Dune, Messiah is obviously his big role coming up in the future, and I think he has Bob Dylan stuff. He has a lot coming his way. And then once you see it, you'll know that this is the undisputed King of the Hill. Any predictions before I reveal it to you?
To be honest, I completely zoned out when you explain it to the guys, viewers, because I was trying to think who would it be, but I'm just drawing blanks. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, when I say that, you will be like, okay, of course. Get ready. Here we go. Our King of the Hill for the first time on the segment, Margot Robbie.
Of course.
Of course, yeah. Margot Robbie is our king, I guess, Queen of the Hill for this segment here. It shocked me to my core that Margot Robbie is only 33 years old. Already has a filmography and a resume of someone who is at least in their 40s. She just she's so great in everything she does. I haven't even touched upon everything else she does besides acting, but 33 years old, 4.8 total billion box office, obviously leading Barbie. She's in the DCU as an undisputed one of the best Harley Quinn, or the best Harley Quinn ever. I don't know if Lady Gaga will take that from her, but her awards, she hasn't won any major yet, but she's been nominated for 3 Oscars, 7 BAFTAs, 4 Golden Globes, and 8 SAGs. She has quite the resume, and she's only 33 years old. She is our first Queen of the Hill. I'm Queen of the Hill right now. Averages 65% on Rotten Tomatoes with a huge extensive filmography. Her major roles are not in acting, but producing. The Sims and Monopoly are going to be her big roles coming up soon. And she's going to be announced in a lot of other different kind of acting roles. But 33 years old, and she's got her own production company producing some of the biggest and best movies that are coming out these days. Margot Robbie is undisputed Queen of the Hill for this segment. Name, thoughts, mate?
I think she is so obvious. I don't even know why I didn't think of her. Fucking idiot.
Is it the age thing?
I think so. I thought she would have been at least 35.
Yeah, right.
But she started stupidly young. 24 years old when Wolf of Wall Street came out? Was when she started.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
I don't see anyone taking over her for at least the next 10 years. Oh, based on your criteria, maybe 2 years, but the next 2 years, this is safe for her. I think Timothee Chalamet and Tom Holland, they can't touch her. She has her own production company. Like, these guys don't. Tom Holland is nothing without the MCU, and Spider-Man, take that away from him, he is nothing, really.
He's off the hill, probably, yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't even be in consideration. Timothée Chalamet is probably the closest based on that, unless Jennifer Lawrence starts picking up again.
Yeah.
But those are probably the only two I can see as a big threat. Maybe Zendaya. But I think Margot Robbie is up here, and then everyone else is like here.
Yeah, dude, she's undisputed, because when I was making this, like, that middle section was really tough to do. But I always knew Margot Robbie was topping this. Just, coming off Barbie, like, it's just, there's no one to really surpass her on that. And even if you take my career out of the picture, you look at it and you're like, that's the best working today. But yeah, I mean, like, the criteria that I use can change over time. And we'll see if it evolves. But this is a segment that I'm going to do not as often as something like Victor of the Picture, because for like applicable change to happen within the Hill, there needs to be a lot of movies released, and we see how that can change people. So yeah, maybe towards the end of the year we'll do another version of this and we'll see who comes out on top. But you're right, dude, I don't see anyone taking over Margot Robbie. One of the best careers that I've had the privilege of viewing so far in Hollywood. After Wolf of Wall Street, I thought she was going to be the the next pretty face of Hollywood. Turns out she's a damn good actress as well, and probably even better producer. So she is it all. Sydney Sweeney might be the next Margot Robbie. People saying that. She produced anyone but you.
I don't really see it.
I mean, I'm not trying to compare looks or anything here, but she produced Anyone But You. That took off. Clearly is a good idea of the market. She just needs to be in, Oscar contending films to really kind of get the resume that Margot Robbie has. But she has, 6 years to really get that kind of resume. Possible? Unlikely. Margot Robbie's kind of doing the impossible at this point. But yeah, that's King of the Hill for you, mate. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Do you guys have anything to say about it? Do you disagree? Remember, this is not really... I mean, a little bit of my personal opinion comes into play, but it's mostly sticks to that criteria. It's all kind of mass related at this point. If you think the criteria should be changed, let me know. If you think the Hill should change, who would you put at the top? Who would you take off? Who would you put on? Does Taylor Swift deserve a mention? You let me know. If Taylor Swift decides to act, by the way, she might get to the top. Let's just be real. Okay, well, that is going to do it for us today. We hope that you guys enjoyed our discussion on all the things today. This went extremely long. We're looking at an hour 40. I am so sorry I'm so sorry to Nan, man. He's on New Zealand time right now, and he's got a work day tomorrow. I feel so bad. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it.
Ooh, getting sick.
Oh, man. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the long episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the new segments as well. Do let us know what you thought. And if you guys are listening to us, you can reach out to us on any of our social medias, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, like, you know what to do. Yeah. Anyway,